Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Coinbase, and on this chart we are mainly focusing on two different scenarios. One of them allows us for direct continuation to the upside in a last fifth wave, in an ending diagonal within a larger fifth wave, within an even larger third wave, and then we would have to hold the support down to the 61.8% retracement at $266 level. And the other scenario would focus rather on the idea that we topped here in a wave 1 in yellow, and then we would be looking for a much larger correction in a wave 2, where the support zone starts from $161.5 and goes down to the $55 level. Now, there are interpretations in between that could still allow for continuation to the upside within this gap, but I find those being the most likely scenarios that we should track at this time. Now, future developments in price may shift that sentiment that we are tracking, and we may need to track those other interpretations, but at the moment we are looking at these two. And here in yellow is the first one we are going through, and this is the more simple one, where we have a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, a third wave up, a fourth wave down, and then this was a fifth wave to the upside. And in this case we would have been tracking a leading diagonal that completed now with the wave 1, and we would be looking already to have started this larger correction in a wave 2, where we quite possibly are close to completing our first 5-wave move that could turn out to be an A wave down, and then we would be looking for a B wave up in a correction, and then a C wave to the downside that could possibly get us to the support zone. Now, we also have the white interpretation, in which we have a wave 1 up here, and then a wave 2, that bottom here, and then this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this would be the fifth wave, in which we would still expect another push to the upside in the fifth wave of the fifth wave. And in this case we wouldn't be tracking a leading diagonal, we would be tracking an impulse to the upside, where only this fifth wave that is developing as an ending diagonal pattern, where the wave 1 was an ABC structure, the wave 3 was an ABC structure, and now the the fifth wave to the upside would also be an ABC structure to come. And as I said, for this we need to hold the 61.8% retracement level here in white at $266. And yeah, we had quite some developments in this area since the previous video. It was more than a week ago, but not too much to necessarily focus on a video in this area. And I have to say, the structure became a lot more unclear here in the yellow interpretation, where we did have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we were looking for another 4, 5 pattern to actually consider this movement more complete. Now, we did break below the wave 3 low, but we haven't really formed necessarily more than an ABC structure so far. And I have to say, the only resistance I can really track now that would prefer continued downside would be for an even larger ABC pattern that would be developing. And let's move this support zone a little to the right. But in this case I would be looking to hold in a wave B correction the levels between $311 down, or sorry, up to $333 level, and this would then probably develop as an ABC. Could be something more bearish, because there's plenty of ways we could count this overall movement. We don't necessarily need to be tracking an ABC pattern in this fifth wave, and that is not necessarily desirable, but that is the situation, and that is what happened by forming this movement to the upside that so far is only in 3 waves. Now, that isn't necessarily a problem. We could still track direct continuation to the upside without forming another low in this area, and in that case we would be tracking a leading diagonal in an A wave. And I would say that here we would have a wave 1 up. This could have been a wave 2 down, but we would have to hold the support or sorry, not the support, because we already broke the support for this supposed 1-2 setup. We are clearly way too deep, but we need not to break below this low at $300 for this 1-2 setup to still have a possibility to continue directly to the upside. Now we do have here the idea that this is developing as a leading diagonal, and it is one of the ways it could develop. Overall, this could turn into a larger ABC pattern, and that would also still be fine. I don't really have a problem with that. We will need to wait and see the actual development. But for this idea, I would be focusing on the levels between 310 down to $298 level for this wave 2, or yeah, this 1-2 or AB, whatever it is, to still work out. I would really prefer to hold this level. And for now, if we already bottomed here and we are already moving in a C wave to the upside, for example, I would be looking for an ideal target at the 100% extension at $332 level. If we were looking for a third wave where this is a 1, 2, 3, I would be looking for an ideal level at 138.2% extension at $345 level. Now, in both of these cases, we do have areas of resistance. So the 100% extension is around the 78.6% retracement in yellow, and also this level that created a pretty decent rejection previously. And then at the 138.2% extension, we have this level that started this entire movement to the downside previously. So we need to be overall careful. We are, however, in this small time frame, in an area of support that still has okay probabilities. Since it is only a 3-wave move, it doesn't have the luxury of being a 5-wave move where we know the probabilities for forming and continuing the trend in the same direction are greater. We don't have that luxury, but we still have a support zone to track, and in case we fall below this level, we know that yeah, we are likely pushing still lower to the downside in that case. But for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.